to the channel, welcome to today's video. It is a new month, which means we're going to do a budget update with you. I try and do these once every month on my channel at the beginning of the month, just to go through all of my incomings, outgoings, expenses, debt, finance, all of that kind of stuff, investments and saving if I'm lucky enough to do that. So this month I'm going to go through everything that I've earned from doing content creation, because if you guys don't know, I am currently on a year off from my full-time employment. I had maternity leave for a year, and then I've also extended that to be extended special unpaid leave to do YouTube and content creation and be at home with the kids a little bit more. So that is what we're working with. So far it's going pretty well, but at the back of my mind I am always thinking, what if this just disappears tomorrow? What if I don't make any money one month? What if everyone just stops watching my YouTube videos and I don't make any money to pay the bills? It's petrifying, if I'm totally honest. But anyway, let's go through this month's exact finances. I'm gonna be using my spreadsheet, which I sell over on Etsy. If you guys wanted to download it, it's available for you to do so. It's transformed me just having a little bit of control over my finances, knowing exactly how much is coming in, going through all my bills, knowing exactly how much I've got left over the month and knowing what to do with it. And then at the end, I'll also go through all the pots of money that I put certain amounts into, and that's how I budget my actual spending money throughout the month, if that makes sense. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I have my laptop here and I'm gonna go through my exact budget. Like I said, this spreadsheet that you're going to see is what I use every single month, and it is available on Etsy, and I'll link it down in the description box if it's helpful. Honestly, like a pen and paper is just as good, but I find that the spreadsheet keeps me really accountable and it's very clear, crisp, everything's just in the same place, and it just works very well for me. So that's what I'm going to continue using. I'm going to update it for 2025, like January 2025, I will do a brand new one and I'll do my big annual budget update for what I want my year to look like. But for now, let's just stick to October. So looking at October, I'm really grateful that I'm going to be able to pay myself the same amount I paid myself last month, which is significantly more than I've ever earned in my life. So I'm still at a pinch me moment, to be honest, with this whole thing. I know it's not going to last forever. When I do go back to work next year, it will look different for me, no doubt. But for now, like, I'm riding the wave and hopefully making all right decisions. I was going to say good decisions, but I've actually made a couple of bad decisions recently, which we'll see soon. Committed to paying for things that maybe in hindsight wasn't the best idea, but we'll go through all of my ups and downs in terms of my finances in a minute. As per every month, I also receive child benefit for my two kids, as does everyone that earns under, I believe, 60,000 or 50,000. I am under both of those amounts, so I'm still eligible for it. However, I do put it straight into the kids' ISAs, and so the £170.20 comes into our joint account, and then it goes straight into the kids' ISAs. We just divide it by 2, and then the kids get that into their stocks and shares ISA. I spoke about this in last month's video, but we do a stocks and shares ISA for the kids. Both of them have their own individual ones, and they've had that since birth. And basically all of their child benefit money has always been invested into the stock market. And then hopefully over the course of 18 years, that's going to amount to something quite decent, fingers crossed. And that can set them up for the first few years of their adult lives, whether that's going to uni, whether that's buying a car, driving lessons, car insurance, deposit on a flat, who knows. But it's going to be a decent chunk of money to help them get started, because wow, it's wild out here. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I had that help. I had a little bit of help, not anywhere near as much as they will have, but to be honest, in 18 years time, life is probably gonna be like twice as expensive as it was when I was getting started. Like, the reason I'm here, the reason I've been wherever I've been over the last 5 years is because of that gift. I may have got there by this point, but we would be starting at a completely different point to this point that I'm at now. So I just think it's so important. If I've got the ability to do it, then I'll do that for my kids. Even if at some point in the future I earn over the threshold of 60,000 or whatever, I'll still contribute that money. Obviously, the threshold to receive child benefit, I'll still obviously contribute that money. But me and my husband both earn underneath the threshold to receive child benefit, and whilst we're getting it, we're going to put it to good use. And yeah, we're in a lucky enough position that we don't have to use it for nappies, wipes, childcare. Anyway, so once that comes out, and then also my tax comes out, my tax is £330 if I earn 3,300. That's at 10% because I am self-employed and I pay myself in dividends. When I do my self-assessment at the end of the tax year, I'll have to pay that in a one-off, so I just put that money aside into a pot of money so that I have the money available when HMRC come knocking. And then I also pay corporation tax and all that kind of stuff, but that's separate to my personal finance. That's the business finance. I did also want to mention, based on on last month's video, I had a few comments saying, you know, that it might not be fair that me and my husband go 50-50 on most things. Basically, there was just this conversation going on in the comments about me and my husband going 50-50 on expenses, even though he earns a bit more and I do most of the childcare and the nursery runs and all that kind of stuff. And obviously I've put my career, like proper career, on hold for a year or a couple of years to do YouTube and be at home with the kids and do all the childcare, all that kind of stuff. And there was like an argument basically saying, you know, that's not fair and it's like unpaid work and you're still having to contribute 50-50, etc. Let me just be completely clear. He's not making me do that. Like, that's completely of my own choice. And we have been, literally until very recently, I've earned more than my husband and always have done. Like, he was in the army, guys. The army did not pay well at all. And the civil service, the job that I was in, the role that I was in, did pay well. Like, and I say well, like not as well as I'm doing this month, but like well in comparison to like my friends that were like 24, 25 at the time. Do you know what I mean? I was earning decent money and I've always paid 50-50 and Ash has always paid 50-50. Even when he was on like 10k less, 15k less, 20k less. Like, I remember when Ash was on £16,000 and he was still paying half the bills. It's just what we've done. Like, it's just what we've always done. And I don't see an issue with it. I'm more than happy with it. Sometimes because I'm with the kids more and I feel like I've spent more money on the kids, doing things with the kids clothes, like, I'm not being funny, I don't know about you guys, but Ash has never bought a piece of child clothing in his life. Doesn't mean that he hasn't contributed towards it, but he just hasn't paid for it because I choose it all, I go and buy it, I do all of that. That's just, to be honest, I really wouldn't want it any other way because he would choose really rubbish things. Anyway, if I go out and spend £100 on kids' clothes, which happens, I will ask him for £50. Like, he might not put the money aside physically, but he'll give me the money if I ask for it. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, with all that said, let's get into the actual fun bit, the expenses. These are the 50-50 bills that me and my husband both pay. So everything you see here is 50% of what that bill actually costs. Now, I've made some tricky decisions. I say tricky, just bad, poorly judged decisions we have as a couple, I would say. And so we've, you'll see what I mean. Firstly, our mortgage is still at £626 each. So the actual whole mortgage is 1,252. Can I do maths? Yeah. So that's how much the repayments are at the moment. They're huge, if I'm totally honest. Like, that's more than I would want it to be. However, it's just because of interest rates at the moment and we're stuck in for 5 years, so that's our life for the next 5 years at least, if we don't move house, which we kind of want to, which is a different, I'll do an update on houses in another video. Mortgage overpayments is something that I wanted to continue doing, but to be honest haven't been able to do over the last few months, and I'm just going to keep it at that for now. It is something that I'd like to change in the future though, maybe for 2025. Kitchen repayments. So Ash redid our kitchen last year and we got it from B&Q and we got it all on finance, but it was interest-free finance. So there's no interest added to it. However, we are still just repaying that over the course of the next, I don't even know when it ends, probably years. I think we got it over 2 years or maybe 3 years. I honestly can't remember. I don't think it was more than 3 years though. So anyway, £80 a month each. Food and groceries, we'd like to budget about £200 each, and that is £400 for the whole month for all groceries, food shopping, nappies, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't include some things that we get on Amazon Subscribe and Save, which I'll go into at the end because it's something that I hadn't actually mentioned before, but it was a random thing that I just hadn't accounted for on this spreadsheet. But for most food and groceries, including if we get HelloFresh or any food that we get at the supermarket, or anything we get at the supermarket basically, comes out of this. Water is £33 each, so £66 a month. I think that's really expensive, but I checked and it's definitely so I don't know why our water's so expensive. I don't know if that's expensive or not, or if that's just normal, but anyway. Gas and electric is at £100 a month. It's not actually £100 yet, but we're getting into the winter months and, you know, the heating's gonna go on, it's gonna get more expensive. So we've always been, over the past, like since January, we've been putting in £100 a month, even when it didn't cost anywhere near that, when we didn't have the heating on during the summer and stuff, because we wanted to get to a point in winter where we're gonna be in credit on our account rather than in debt, because we were in debt by like £800, £900. Do you remember at the end of 2022 when it was just like wild and everything just kicked off and bills just went through the roof? We were in so much debt on our account that we were like, we don't want to get in that position again. Let's just pay £100 a month every month. So it's the same every month, but when it gets to winter, we've already got that money spare. I highly recommend doing it because then it's just not all over the place. Our house insurance is £10 each a month. Our life insurance is £14 each a month. Internet is £15 each a month. And our TV license was actually cheaper than I thought it was. Last month it went down to £13.25, and then it's also going to continue to be £13.25 this month. We never used to have the TV license, but then we started watching, well, I say we, George started watching CBeebies on BBC iPlayer, just having like live TV. It just works for him rather than having unsolicited access to like Netflix and YouTube and stuff. We just wanted him to have a little bit of a, you know, just this is what's on TV, take it or leave it sort of thing. And it's worked really well, but obviously then we had to get the TV license back. So TV license is there. And then childcare for George, our 4-year-old, is £160 a month each. That's with the tax-free childcare and the 30 hours free childcare, like funded hours. Moving down to Hallie. So Hallie has not started childcare yet, but she will be starting in October, and we have actually already paid a £250 deposit for her to start. She's going to go a couple days a week, the same hours as George, I think. Last month, I didn't realise, but we actually had to pay a £250 deposit, so we paid £105 each into the tax-free childcare like portal, and because that obviously equaled £210, it then added the 25% government top-up, which brought it to over £250. So we paid the deposit with that, and then that is going to be like a refundable deposit, so it goes towards her childcare bill for this month. So this month it's going to be £55 each because of the deduction that we would have already paid for in September, and then going forward her monthly bill will be £155 each, which is crazy because that is actually including 15 funded hours like that she gets now, which is crazy because George never got that, but I know that the scheme has been updated to include younger kids, so from the age of 9 months, if you're eligible, working parents, earning money under a certain amount, etc. But anyway, if you wanted to know anything else about the tax-free childcare and the funded hours childcare scheme, all that kind of stuff for England specifically, I've actually got a YouTube video on it where I actually go into detail, try and explain it really well, and hopefully it makes sense. I've got a few comments on that saying that it was really, really understandable and just not as, like, you know, confusing as it is on the government website, because trust me, I know, I work for the government websites are not helpful, so go and watch that video if you haven't already. But anyway, moving on to just a few subscriptions. We've got Office 365, which is £4 each, Spotify, which is £4.50 each, security systems that we have in our house, like doorbell, cameras, security on the doors and stuff, is £16.50 each. And then George's swimming has actually gone down from last month just because of the way that the payments have changed, so it's going to be at £28 a month each. That is for swimming lessons 1 day a week, and it's actually like a direct debit now rather than having to like put all loads of money aside and then pay it like in one go, if that makes sense, for like a course of 10 weeks. It's actually a direct debit, so it works out so much easier. And then this is where the bad decisions started happening, guys. We booked another holiday for next year without having saved enough money to actually cover it. So we are going on holiday to Tenerife next year, which was unplanned, but we're going with all of Ash's side of the family. It's going to be a big holiday, like everyone's going, all of his siblings, all of their kids, like it's going to be a big one, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun. But yeah, it does mean that we're paying £220 a month each, every month from the joint accounts until we go. So that's fantastic. Look, we can afford it. It just makes things a little bit tighter than they would otherwise be. Anyway, the grand total of what I need to transfer from my personal current account into the joint account is £1,662.25. So that is literally how we work this. So anything in this category, these joint expenses, is exactly what comes out of the joint account. We booked the holiday on this joint account, for example, so that's going to come out of there. If I'm in the supermarket, I will use the joint card for anything in the supermarket. That is why it's in this category. Moving down to personal expenses. Now this is basically just anything that comes out of my current account. And I've changed it a little bit. I did just have petrol on here and stuff, but actually I've changed that to be like spending money, like it's slightly different, because these are payments that come out of my account without me having to do anything. So they're like standing orders or direct debits or whatever they are. So for this one, a new addition is car tax. I actually used to pay my car tax just annually, because I thought you'd save loads of money by doing that, like you do on car insurance and stuff. But my car tax was up for renew, and I looked and it actually wasn't that much different. So I've decided to do that monthly this time, which means I've got an additional £17 coming out of my account every month. which is fine, not that much, not gonna break the bank. And it just meant that I didn't have to fork out 200 quid in one go that I hadn't remembered that I had to save for. To be honest, I've always had cars that are like £30 a year to tax, whereas the car that I've got now is not £30 a year to tax, it's £200 apparently. So £17 a month it is coming out of my account, which is not gonna break bank, like I said, not too bad. My fitness class that I go to a couple of times a week is £36 a month. I do have the option to go like 5 times a week, but honestly, with the kids and stuff, because of the timing, it doesn't really work out. So a couple times a week it is, but £36, it's honestly the best money I spend on myself. A bit of me time that I'm definitely not gonna give up. And then the holiday payment for Crete, where we're going for a family friend holiday. We've been paying this off since January, I think, and it's £111 each. The reason it's on my personal expenses rather than the joint expenses is just because I booked it on my card. Don't know why, in hindsight, probably should have done it from the joint account. It's £111 each, and that comes out of my current account, so £164 is what I need in my account for these bills to come out. So that's that. Investment, I'm going to try and continue investing. I know I said last month that I was a bit slack on it the previous months, but where I'm earning a decent amount of money, I need to prioritise like future a little bit, and investing is the way I do that. Similar to what we do with the kids' ISAs, the stocks and shares ISAs, I do the same thing for my stocks and share ISA, but I just do it less frequently and less religiously, because you always do. You do something better for your kids. You don't always do it yourself, do you? But yeah, £200 a month is hopefully what I'm going to continue to be able to do, at least while I'm earning this amount of money. And moving down to savings, this category specifically is savings for a specific target, a specific goal, or a specific thing. Like, these are pots of money that I'd like to have X amount of money in before the event happens, if that makes sense. So for example, things like my emergency fund, or Christmas, or car insurance, and that kind of thing. I've mentioned it loads. I use an app called Monzo. I use the free version, and I love it because you are able to earn interest on the pots of money. I've also used apps like Hyperjar in the past, which are just as good, if not a little bit better, in terms of the aesthetics of the app and stuff and the way it looks, but you don't earn interest on the money you put away. And I think that's just key for savings. You want to earn a little bit of interest. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you like trying to keep the money in the pot, if that makes sense, because the more money you've got in the pot, the more interest you earn. I just feel like earning interest is a no-brainer. Similar to investing, but obviously there's no, with savings, in a savings account, there's no risk. So that's obviously the massive benefit. So starting off with my emergency fund, £100 is what I try and put into my emergency fund every month. I'd quite like to be able to get that to a point where it's like £2,000 in there, so I can just like relax a little bit, that if I have a really awful month on YouTube, that I've still got £2,000 to cover my bills, that sort of thing. Or if the washing machine breaks down, or the boiler breaks down, or we lose the back door key and the door is unlocked, for example, because let me tell you, 2 out of 3 of those things have actually happened to us, and we didn't necessarily always have the cash in our back pocket, like in an emergency fund, to cover those costs. So we'd either have to get a loan, or we'd have to be really skint one month. Like, ideally, I'd have a pot of money for emergencies, just in case the worst should happen. So that's what I'm trying to do for that. Then my car maintenance has actually been completely rinsed, because I had a pot of money for my car maintenance. I think I had like £200 in there, but it's been rinsed completely because I had to get a new tyre, because I had a puncture and it had like a nail in my tyre, so I had to go and get that fixed. But it would cost like £180 for a new tyre, which is insane. Why is it so expensive for a tyre? Anyway, I didn't go for like a really budget one, I went for like a mid-range one, and obviously getting that all changed and fitted and all that kind of stuff, I needed to get that done, but I'm glad I had the money in the bank account to do that in my car maintenance pot on Monzo. However, I do need to start building that back up, so I'm going to put £50 towards it. Car insurance, I'm going to move that down to £25 this month. I have been putting in £50 a month because insurance has been through the roof, like most things, over the last couple of years. However, Ash actually looked and he got a really good quote for his car insurance recently, and I looked, I don't have to renew for a couple of months, but I looked and it looks like I would already have enough money put away in this pot of money for my car insurance to pay it outright in a one-hour, rather than having to, again, get it on like a monthly rolling one. I like to do it annually if I can, because you do save money on car insurance by doing that. And I've got a decent amount of money in that pot already. I think it's like £450. So I'm gonna just put like £25 in there this month, just to keep it ticking along, keep it growing, just in case car insurance costs goes through the roof. But hopefully I should have enough money in there already to do that. Then my new car fund, I'm gonna continue to try and put £50 in that fund every month. Fingers crossed if I can continue to do that. I'm not looking for a new car yet, but in a couple of years time, I will probably want a new car. My mileage will probably be up and I'll probably be looking for a new car, and I'd like to have a little bit of money put away to contribute towards that, as well as selling my old car, and then hopefully I won't have to get into any debt or get a car on finance to do that. I've been there before. They rip you off big time, and again, if I can plan for the future a couple of years out, then fingers crossed when I get there, yeah, it won't be too extortionate at least. Holiday 2025, as we've got 2 holidays booked and like the payments are coming out already, I'm not putting any money into that obviously, because to be honest, we should probably be only going on 1 holiday, but anyway, let's just move on. Christmas, I'm not going to actually contribute towards this pot at the moment. I have been putting £100 a month into the Christmas fund for the last 8 or 9 months. I think there was 1 month I couldn't do it, so I've got £800 in the Christmas fund already, and that includes everything from gifts to food to days out to travel, like everything you would do around Christmas time. Like, it's expensive to go and do things, right? So that's what that money is for. Not just like for presents, but like I said, for food and outings and travelling to see people and all that kind of stuff. I do just think £800 is a lot of money, and I think we can do it on £800. Like, it just seems ridiculous that we would have to spend more than that. Although you just think about the people you spend money on, spend £100 on that person, £50 on that person, whatever, and it adds up quickly. But anyway, this month I'm going to leave it, and then I might contribute towards it in November and December, but we'll just play it by ear and see how I'm thinking everything's gonna go. In November, I am gonna do like a specific Christmas budget update. I have got one on Etsy already, like a budget spreadsheet and stuff for Christmas specifically, but I'm gonna do one myself so that I know exactly the plans that I've got, the things that I wanna do with the kids, all that kind of stuff. This is also, by the way, something that Ash will probably contribute towards. There's no way I'm gonna get him to sit down and say, yeah, I'm gonna put £100 a month away for Christmas every year. Like, he's not gonna do that. It's just not his personality type. But when it comes to going out with the kids and stuff, he'll definitely pay for things. So I might pay for the tickets to organise the thing, and he'll pay for the food while we're there or something like that. But anyway, just thought I'd mention it before I get the comments. Then for birthdays, I've been putting in £100 a month over the last couple of months because we've had some big birthdays in the family. Hallie had a birthday in July, George had a birthday in September, but we don't have any big birthdays coming up, so I'm going to put £50 in this month, just because, you know, like when there's like a niece or a nephew that has a birthday, you want to put £20 or £30 into a card or something like that. There's just some money, some cash flow, you know, building. It's Ash's 35th in March, so hopefully I can use the birthday money to like book us a nice meal or take us, like maybe stay in a hotel one night or something like that, if I start putting away £50 towards it now. Then speaking of Ash's birthdays, Japan 2030 is actually when he'll be turning 40. I know that I've mentioned this before, but I'm trying to put away £50 a month every month, as long as I can, towards this potential trip to Japan. I'd love to go to Japan. It would be a trip of a lifetime with the kids and Ash. It's something that he's always wanted to do, but we've always, you know, it's never been really on the cards for us. But if I start planning it now, we're 6 years out, £50 a month for the next 6 years, you never know, we might actually get there, and that will be, like I said, trip of a lifetime. And if we actually achieve that, I'll be just so proud of ourselves. Because although previous me would probably be like, right, I'll put that £50 towards overpaying the mortgage, put that £50 into savings, which I try and do anyway, like maybe not the mortgage, but I'm trying to do savings in a different way anyway. I also just want to live my life. I want to have fun. I want to make memories. I want to do unbelievable things, work towards things to, you know, look back on. Like, I just want to do that. So I want to try and, you know, have a bit of balance on saving, investing, but also living life, saving towards things that are going to be just like amazing things. It's definitely something that I'm working towards anyway. Similarly, but on a much lesser scale, Download 2025 is a festival that I'd really like to go back to with Ash and the kids. We went last year with George and it was so much fun. Or sorry, this year with George, it was so much fun. Next year I'd like to go with everyone again, but it was just like that month, it meant that my expense, because it wasn't like a full planned thing, it was just something that we decided to do sort of the month before or whatever. So this time I want to save towards it, £20 a month. I think this month is going to be fine, and then if I get to next year and I've got like a decent fund in there's money for food, there's money for a couple of drinks or whatever, maybe if we want to do the camping tickets, don't know. But if I keep contributing towards it, then it's not going to break the bank on the month that it actually happens. And then also I've got my family friend's hen do, so the family friend whose wedding we're going to in Crete in 2025, in June I think, It's her hen do coming up in the March, so we've got to pay £45 each towards it. We're going to go on a Butlins weekend. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, that's £45 that I hadn't had to pay for before, but that's something that I'm going to pay for up until March. That's a new outgoing coming up. Then moving down, we've got easy access money. So these are still pots of money that I've got in my Monzo account. However, these are easy access pots, so they're not savings accounts, saving pots that I earn interest on like the other ones. These are the ones that I get the interest on. These ones are easy access accounts that I don't earn interest on. This is basically my spending money, and things like petrol, days out, date night, hair, they're all things that I'm going to do throughout the month, and it would be easy for me to keep this money into my current account where all of my other bills come out from, and just have, you know, whatever it would be, like £300 in my current account, and just leave it there and just use my card and willy-nilly. However, I know that I overspend when that happens. Massively. However, when I have the money in my Monzo account and I've separated all the money out into these individual pots, I am so much stricter with myself. I check myself before I spend, and it has genuinely changed the game in terms of actually keeping to a budget. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing from stopping me like changing the money around. If I haven't spent £200 on petrol and I've got £50 left over at the end of the month, I might put the £50 into days out, and we might go and do a lovely day out at the zoo or something. But I'll only do that towards the end of the month when I know I don't need that money for something, if that makes sense. So going through this, £200 of petrol, I'm pretty good at sticking to that, to be honest. Days out, I've moved that down to £50 because £75 last month was definitely spent, but it didn't need to be. The extra 25 was probably just like on ice cream and just stuff. When you buy out, you can definitely take a packed lunch and it's a lot easier. Days out with the kids, like soft play, zoo, all that kind of stuff. Like I say, Ash and me go like 50-50 on these things, but when I'm with the kids, just me and them, that's probably this money, if I'm totally honest. This is the soft play, the jump street, the indoor like activity centre places, going maybe to Greg's after getting a haircut, that kind of vibe. Then moving down to date night, £30 is not something that I've actually been putting away loads towards previously. Like I might have put something in there like if I had something left over, but I actually want to make a point of it this time, because to be honest, it would just be really nice once a month to just go down the pub and get a glass of wine and a pint and just talk and not be in the same four walls, talking about the same things, about the kids. Like you never really have that proper conversation, and I just feel like every couple needs that. Like your you know, marriage or your relationship should come first sometimes, and we have been neglecting it. So £30 a month from me going into the date night pot to make this happen. Then moving down to hair, I do usually get my hair done once a month. It costs £35 to get it cut, and that's what I'm getting done this month. So it's gone down from $50 last month to $35 this month. I will probably put a little bit more towards it over the next couple of months because I'll probably want to get it like maybe a little bit of colour in it before Christmas. But yeah, for this month, £35 is fine. Nails, I'm not going to get them done, even though they probably need doing. I had a little bit of money left over in my pot last month to get them infilled from after my holiday, and then got them done for George's birthday, which is why they're red. I've got Spider-Man nails. But I'm not going to get them done this month. I'm going to wait until Christmas to get them done next, and I probably need to just get these off somehow, but I'll probably, not going to lie, pick them off. Then kids' clothes, I say this every single time, but I have Vinted, and it is literally a dream. I literally sell the kids' old clothes on Vinted and then buy them new clothes on Vinted. I haven't actually had to like shell out my money like from my bank account in such a long time, because I'm just recycling money almost, selling money, making money, and either buying the clothes on Vinted, or I'm like taking the money out and then buying it on like Asda or whatever, George Asda. I've actually just done a load of new clothes for Hallie. It cost about £80 or something to get her all new clothes in a new size, just for like nursery clothes, shoes, coat, all that kind of stuff. And I used my Vinted balance, so it didn't come out of my bank account per se. For me, last month I did get a couple of new pairs of jeans that cost £70. So this month I'm not spending any money on clothes, I don't think. I would really like some new shoes, but I think that's just me being influenced online. I really do want some gazelles, but they're like £100, and I don't think I can justify £100 on some trainers. I just don't think I can. So maybe that's a Vinted balance little jobby as well. But anyway, I'm not going to do any of that this month, I don't think. Home stuff, I am going to put £100 into a pot of money for home stuff, because there's just like, there's always stuff, isn't there, that you need to buy for the house. The main things that I need to buy are child locks for the cupboards, because Hallie is just doing my head in, going through all the cupboards and like smashing mugs and stuff. So that's an absolute essential thing, and I need to get lots, because we've got lots of cupboards in this kitchen. And I need to get a stair gate as well for the bottom of the stairs, again, because Hallie has started climbing up the stairs, and that is an absolute no-go. So that's my 2 things that I'm going to buy. Ash has got a lot of things that he needs to get for the house as well. His jobs are generally just like all the DIY jobbies. So he's actually ripped off all the stair carpet, and he did all the upstairs flooring and stuff like that. He obviously paid for all of that. The carpet on the stairs needs doing. He needs to get all of the wooden stuff, like nail it all down because it's all creaky and annoying. So he needs to do all of that. That's his job. He needs to finish off the bathroom that he started like months and months and months ago. We've kind of just fallen into the stereotype of like, I get all the functional / kid related things, all the aesthetic things maybe, and he gets all of the DIY stuff. Look, I don't even know what he needs to buy for the bathroom, so I'm not going to be any help in terms of budgeting for it. Moving on to eating out and takeaway. To be honest, last month I budgeted £40 and we didn't use it, or we used £20 of it. So I'm going to budget £25 like I usually do, and that should be enough. Again, Ash will probably get 1 takeaway. I'll probably get 1 takeaway a month. I've got that pot of money there. It's like rolling pot of money. I think there's probably like a £5 in it now. So £25, 30 quid. That will be enough for like a decent Chinese or whatever. Then moving down to 2 things that I've never mentioned on this spreadsheet before, which I don't even know why. It wasn't purposely. It was just forgot, to be honest, or hadn't accounted for it, which are beauty, subscribe and save. That's what SNS is. Beauty, subscribe and save, so Amazon subscribe and save, and lashes. These are the lashes I am referring to. So these are 2 subscriptions that I get every month, whether that's eyelashes or on Amazon I get like hairspray, I get brow dye, I get moisturizers, what else do I get? Dry shampoo, I get a face wash, that's actually for my armpits. I think I mentioned this in another video. It's basically kills the bacteria in your sweat to make it not smell. It's amazing. Anyway, all of these things cost £31 a month. So some of them come monthly, and then some of them come every 4 months, and some of them come every 5 months. Some of them come every 6 months. For example, my foundation I get on, well, it's not foundation, it's tinted SPF. I actually get that on Amazon, and that comes once every 6 months, for example. The reason I do subscribe and save is because you get a discount. You get like 15% off when you max out the discount, which is so much more affordable than buying it ad hoc. However, each month it will come out and it will be a different amount slightly. Each month I've divided it by what it would cost monthly to get those items, and it works out to £31 a month. I hope that makes sense. So say for example, I've got my tinted SPF, that works out to like £20 for example. I think it's more, but say it's £20 for example. I just divided that by 6 because it comes every 6 months. So £20 divided by 6 equals, I don't know, £3.30 or whatever it would be. I just add that monthly, so each month I put £3.30, £3.30, £3.30 into this fund of money on my Monzo account. That way, when the payment comes out or is due to come out from my Amazon, I've already like contributed a little bit of money towards it. It's the same principle I've done for basically everything, but I knew that I had this monthly outgoing and it was never enough to really save towards, but actually there was 1 month where it was like 40, 50 quid and I was like, oh, okay. I hadn't actually figured that one out on my budget. So £31 a month is what it is. When those items come next time, they come at the beginning of every month, I'll show you what they are in a vlog if you're interested. And then similarly, I've got a household subscribe and save, and that works out to £25 a month. So the household subscribe and save includes things like toilet roll, kitchen roll, bin bags, what else is on there? Wipes, baby wipes, Calpol. I think that's the gist of what it includes. And some of those things again come monthly, some of those things come every 5 months, some of those things come every 3 months because they come in bulk. So again, same principle, I just worked out exactly what that would cost per month if I were to contribute towards it equally. £25 a month, that's for all of it. This is because I'm the one that's organising it. It's at £25, it should be divided by 2, but basically I'll just tell Ash like when the payment comes out once every 3 months, oh, can you send me whatever amount, 30 quid towards toilet roll or whatever for the next 3 months. So that it just works out that way. Again, it's my Amazon account. If we were to put that money in the joint account, which is where all of this stuff is, we would spend it. If we see leftover money in this joint account, we spend it on food in the supermarket. Like that will just happen because it doesn't come out exactly monthly. Like I said, some of these things actually come out every 3 months or whatever. Some months will be more expensive than others. If I've calculated correctly, I will put in £25 a month into the little Monzo pot, and then once the payment comes out, I'll use that money to pay it and then ask Ash to transfer me some money. It's just the easiest way to do it, and I know it kind of sounds like it's a bit more of a mental load on my side, but he'd be terrible at it if I'm totally honest. So all of my savings and all of my easy access money totaled up, it comes to £886 that I need to put into my Monzo account this month. And then basically what I'll do is I'll transfer that from my current account into the Monzo account, and then I'll separate all of the different money into the different pots. You can actually set it up to do that automatically. However, I don't do that because it changes, like the amounts that I contribute to each pot kind of changes depending on what I want to do that month. So I kind of just do it, like I say, I sit down, I do this budget, and then I do all of my little Monzo thing, and then that's me done for the month, and that's how I like to do it. If you have a set amount of money that you want to put away for a certain thing every month, then you can just set it up to do that automatically on the app. And then with all of that accounted for, that leaves me with £52.75 unaccounted for. Can spend on whatever I like, probably coffee, and yeah, that's me. Actually more flexibility than I had last month. Obviously you can see here it was minus £1.25. Yeah, went into my overdraft last month, and that was mainly because I just didn't want to take out money from any of my savings. I could have taken money out from my savings to make sure I didn't go into my overdraft, but I was only in my overdraft for a couple of days, so it didn't charge me. And then obviously where I didn't know, we had to, well, I probably should have known, but I just forgot that we had to pay for this deposit for Hallie's childcare. That's why we went over last month. But anyway, this month hopefully that won't happen. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will, guys. I'm sure something will come up that I can't remember or I'm not anticipating, but that's life, isn't it? That is just how it works. So that is everything that I have earned this month, my income, all of my joint card expenses, my personal expenses, investments, savings, spending money, everything. And that's from a semi-working mum of two, with, you know, frankly, the most amount of money I've ever had. And I have to say, this is probably the most comfortable I've ever been financially. Like, this month is a great month for me. But then also realising that this could just not be my life for a long time. I think next year we are definitely going to do some staycations. We're not going on this many holidays. I would really like to avoid having like a lifestyle creep, which is where your like expenses are just going up and up and up because your income's going up. Like, it just makes, you can't save money like that. You're just spending money, and I'm all about saving and trying to get, you know, budgeting right, but at the same time still having fun and doing fun things, just sensibly, I guess. I don't know, it's one of those things, like I'm constantly juggling with it. Like, I've been in positions before where I have no money, none, and the fact that I've got money, I feel like there's a responsibility for me to not just waste it, and to do like sensible things with it as well as enjoying life. It's just like this massive balance, isn't it? Anyway, as always, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below, and I'll try and answer them in next month's video. Like I say, in November I'm going to do a monthly update, but I'm also going to try and do a like Christmas budget as well. Like I said, I've got about £800 in a pot of money already, and I want to divide that up and figure out what I'm going to spend that on, how much I'm going to spend on each person that I need to buy for, what like activities we're going to do, how much those activities are going to cost, food's going to cost, all that kind of stuff. I don't even know who we're having over for Christmas. I think we're going to host, but I need to figure out how many people we're having over, food-wise, all that kind of stuff. I will be doing that in next month's budget update, or I'll do a separate one maybe for Christmas. I don't know, let me know what you think. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys!
'Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.